going on, guys? This is Paul at 12voltreview.com, and today I'm looking at something completely different than a radio or speakers or anything, and I have a amplifier, and it's made by Rockford Fosgate. It's the Rockford Fosgate Punch PBR500X1, and yes, there's an amplifier inside this little box here. It's a small chassis case amplifier. It's made to fit in like motorcycles or four-wheelers, vehicles that just don't have a lot of room for for a big old amp and stuff. And this amplifier has a 1-year warranty. The price averages around $349. And it's you think, well, such a small box, why does it cost so much? Well, it's a monoblock amp, and it's 500 watts RMS, probably close to 1,000 peak power. But let's get inside the box. We'll see what's all inside there, and I think there's a little burst sheet that they have built into these amps as well. Not built into it, but it's a piece of paper. Here's the paper. I'll go over this in just a second. This is like the little specs on it. Got the amplifier. It's got little foam ends, and it's all wrapped in shrink wrap. And I'll pull it out over here in a second so we can go through all of those things on the side. Yes, that's the amp there. And we also got plug-in for RCAs. Looks like there's plug-in RCAs that plugs in this side, but like I said, I'll go through that here in just a second. And we also got the there goes the box. Anyway, you got the manual. It tells you everything you need to know. Actually, half of it's French, and the first 4 pages are English. It's like, well, it says 10 pages. But anyway, here's the manual, and that's everything that's in the box. Let's get unwrapped, and then we'll go through the paper, and we'll see what all the little details about it. Alright, we got the paper out. I'm going to try and hold it as steady as possible in front of the camera. It's kind of hard to look at the paper in the camera and make sure everything's centered. But we got the model number, PBR500X1. Got your serial number. Rated power is 500 watts. It's RMS, and usually it's tested by, this will be the person's name. And this is a birth date, which means that's when it was manufactured at the factory. That's the date. All right, these are the specs and everything, and the actual power. Right here we got because it's a monoblock amp, it's only one channel. It's 216 watts into one speaker at 4 ohms. So if you had a 4 ohm woofer, it would put out about 216 watts RMS. If you had a 2 ohm woofer, it'd be 378 watts, and if you have 1 ohm woofer, it'd be 588 watts. So 588 watts down here is total RMS power, or if you want max peak power, 1764 watts. This is a computer generalized paper, because every time they make an amplifier, they run it through a computer, and it generates this paper form, and they pack the paper up when they box up the amp. And that's all for the paper. And let's go to the amp, and we'll look at it. Okay, I got the amp sitting down here. I got me a little trusted ruler so we can see what size it is. And looks like it's about 1.5 inches tall, from here to here. Lengthwise, I want to kind of look at it first to make sure. It's kind of looking about good 8.5 inches long. That's from the metal mounting bracket to the other metal mounting bracket. Of course, your connectors will kind of protrude out the side, to go into the the holes that you made to hide the wires. So it's 1.5 by 8.5 this way, all the way across. And lengthwise, looks like it's going to be almost like 4 1/4. Pretty close. So 4 1/4 from here to here. There we go. 4 1/4. So 4 1/4 by 8.5 by 1.5 tall. And it has pretty good weight to it. It's got about, without a scale, I'd probably say good 5 pounds to this. But it's got it's got 4 screw holes here and here. On the back of it's got your barcode, serial number. If your amp does not have one of these, when you want to go buy one, don't buy it, because that will mean it have no warranty or anything. And you have a hard time if something happens, you have a hard time with shipping this off to get it fixed. Alright, the cable that comes with it, this is for the RCAs, and it's all plug and play. You look on this side, got all the connectors. On the other side, got upside down, the power and the speaker wires. And all you got to do is just find the plug, which is right in the center. And just plug it in, and this is the input for the amp. Okay, I'm going to plug this here. On this side, we got these two black connectors. These pop out, so you can take them with you. And you're like, well, why should I take these with you? I mean, what do they do? Well, what it is, I have to bring it closer to the camera here so you can see. Alright, these little plug-ins, these part plug in the amp. They don't go in one way because they got these little ridges here. And what it is, you got your remote wire, ground wire, and battery power. These are your power connections and remote wire. You know, battery, ground, and remote wire go into here. And being, saying it's a 1700 watt amp, probably wouldn't hurt to use 4 gauge up to the amp, and then go through a distribution block and come out to 8 gauge, because apparently this will handle 8 gauge input. So, I mean a 4 gauge input. So anyway, and then right here is your screws. You slide your wire in, and you screw it with a screwdriver. Looks like it's just a regular either flat bit or a Phillips or Torx, looks like. And you screw them in and you plug it back in the amp. This other one is for the speakers. It's kind of hard to straighten up there, but you got your positive, negative, the same way, just like this. You got your screw holes, the flat blades. You just stick all your wires in there. Like I said, it's one channel amp. That's why there's only one set of inputs, and it's also, only goes in one way. It just pops right in the amp like this. Alright, now we got that set up. Okay, got a little closer here. I got to sit on this little foamy pads. And like I said before, on this side you have your power and protect switch. Your light comes on blue when the power's on, and if something happens like a short of speaker, then it'll switch over to probably red light. And I've never seen one go bad, so anyway, I'm going to plug my little connectors back in. Like I said, they only go one way. And they just go in and actually click in place so they don't slide back out. So you have your speaker wires here, and your power, ground, and remote wires come out of there. Alright, now I'm going to turn this around. This is the business end of the, kind of like a mullet, part in the front and business in the back. Or other way, business up front, party in the back. Right here, this is your frequency control. It goes down to like 15 hertz all the way up to 65 hertz. And usually anything around 30 hertz, your brain just can't hear. Your ears aren't able to hear that low of a. You can feel it, but you won't be able to hear it. The second little knob here, this is your gain knob. You turn it up and actually, so it's like a volume knob for the amp. But it really, turns on the power. The second one here is your high level, low level input, and that's like for your RCAs here. Usually when they come out of the back of a radio, they're low level, so you make sure it's sticking out. If you're coming off of speakers, then it's high level. This right here, high level adjust. Some 4 volts to 6 volts. It's a Butterworth 12 dB octane control here. And if you can also purchase a optional remote punch EQ button. It plugs in right here. It looks like a telephone jack, but a lot more, a lot bigger, more like a land jack. Comes out to a bass line that you can mount up front, so you can actually control the gain from up front. Alright, got it put back in the box. This is actually a pretty beast of an amp. I haven't had a chance to actually hear this in action, and it's fairly strong amp for being as tiny as it is. As long as it's got hooked up right and got the correct ohm loads, which it's for saying it's 1700 watts peak power, which it may never actually get up to that high, but as long as it's hooked up right, 4 gauge wire, good ground, solid input, it will slam. I mean, it's for as small as the size it is. I've seen this put in full size pickups on like a pair of 12s, and it's just really amazing on how much power this little tiny amp can put out. Anyway, this is the Rockford Fosgate PBR500X1. Like I said, it has a 1-year warranty, averages around 350, and it's for its size, it's pretty strong, and I'm fairly impressed with this little tiny amp right here. Anyway, this is Paul with 12voltviewer.com. I appreciate y'all watching, and hope you have a great day, and please subscribe.